Welcome to Noona, Your Business Podcast, Episode 7, interview with Colleen Johnson, social media manager at Drama Fever. Besides managing the social media content and collaborating with the marketing team there, Colleen also writes about K-dramas over on her blog, KDramafighting.com. And on top of all of that, she is a new mother. You guys, I have to be honest, we are in different time zones, so we had to stay up pretty late to get this interview, but it was well worth our effort. Colleen was a joy to speak with. She is funny, knowledgeable, and her resume would make any K-drama and K-pop fan envious. Find out how she went from being a casual K-drama fan to managing social media content that gets distributed to millions of fans on a daily basis. Also hear her hilarious stories about KCON and the K-drama shenanigans she pulled while there, and learn which idol she met in person who made the biggest impression on her. That's what you're in for today on Noona, Your Business. Well, first off, welcome to Noona, Your Business. Megan and I are thrilled that you agreed to do an interview with us today because we are avid Drama Fever watchers.
Yeah, it was our gateway into this whole world.
Yes, this big world that we're all into. But first off, congratulations on becoming a new mother. How old is your little one?
She is 6 months old.
Are you adjusting well to motherhood?
Yeah, I mean, she's going through teething and, trying new foods, which is both exciting and also really tiring.
Yes, I feel you. Megan asked me the other day, she's like, when's the last time you slept through the night? And I was like 6 years ago. So, yeah.
I don't have any kids, but you guys are my heroes because I don't have enough energy to do anything, and moms are amazing.
Yeah, she slept for about 8 hours straight for about a month at 3 months, which saved my sanity after all these months of not. And then she did the sleep regression thing, and now, I'm back to this again.
No. Well, we won't take up too much of your time because I know how valuable your sleep is. So I do have to tell you, though, today Megan and I were testing the audio equipment just to make sure that everything sounded good. And I said, Megan, are you excited to talk to Colleen tonight? And she's like, I'm excited and nervous because I kind of feel like a cool kid at school invited me to hang out with them tonight. So
I'm going to be super awkward, just so you know.
So that's flattering, but I'm really not that cool.
So you are the social media manager at Drama Fever. Can you tell our listeners just how long you've been there and what exactly your job entails?
So I've been at Drama Fever for 4 years, which was kind of a funny story because I got into K-dramas through Netflix. It recommended one to me, and I was just like, I don't know anything about modern South Korea, and I was curious, and I watched it. It was lied to me, and I was just like, what is this magic? And then my roommate at the time walked in and was like, you watch these too? And I was like, I don't know, is this like a thing? And she was like, yeah, it's a thing. And I was like, oh. And so fast forward, this was in grad school, so fast forward, I moved to New York. I was trying to work in nonprofit, and this was right after the recession, so there was just nothing. And everybody was like, you need social media experience. And I was like, well, I have a Facebook. And I was like, okay, I need to make up something to practice with. And so I talked to one of my best friends who had gotten into K-dramas, and I was like, hey, you want to start a blog with me? And she was like, okay. And so using that blog, I taught myself how to do, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And it kind of got popular pretty quickly because at that time there weren't a lot of K-drama blogs. And so it's called K-Drama Fighting. And we mostly got popular for our memes. And so I just was like, hey, this is fun, and I feel like I'm pretty good at this, so I should just see if there's like a career I can do. And I found out that Drama Fever was in New York, and so I was like, hey, perfect. So I contacted one of their workers through LinkedIn and asked if I could just have like a meeting with her, and she gave me a name, and I started freelancing for Drama Fever, and then it kind of went from there where I was like, I got to convince them to hire me full time. And so luckily I was able to do that, and that was about 4.5 years ago, and so I've been doing that ever since. And so I'm a social media manager, and I also am over Drama Fever News, and so I manage our freelancers and write my own stories. And back when I lived in New York, I covered a lot of like K-pop concerts and events, and because I do some photography. And then I also like run our Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that.
You're busy.
You are busy. You really did get into this at like the perfect time. That sounds and I don't want you to like brush it off. I think it's amazing that you even had the gall to like contact somebody through LinkedIn and say, I love doing this. Let's have a meeting. I just think that's wonderful. I'm so thrilled. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah, I was lucky. It all came together at the perfect time.
It's funny because one of the first things that I told Beck I wanted to ask you is, what is it like to be able to work in a job where you're surrounded by K-dramas and K-pop all day? Because I seriously dream about that at my actual job where I can't talk about them at all. So I just want to know, what is it like on the other side?
And so many people feel that way. And I have to admit that once I started doing it full time, I kind of pulled back from our own blog. And my partner, Vilya, she does much more of it now. Mm-hmm. Just because it's like once you do something for 8 or 9 hours a day, the last thing you want to do when you get home is do it more.
Exactly.
and the part of it is not that great because anytime you work at something and it's your job, it becomes like mundane after a while,
right.
You know? And there are like so many little tasks that I have to do every day that are kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
That it takes some of the magic of being a fan out of it. But on the other hand, I also have given amazing opportunities that I would never have gotten. Like being able to meet different celebrities and do interviews and get press passes, and also just one of the best things that I've been able to do was I was able to do like a 10-day trip to Korea. So I was like all expenses paid and
oh my God.
had a personal tour guide, and basically my job was just to go and like eat delicious food and go to all these K-drama filming sets and take pictures and do live videos and post on Instagram, and it was through the Korean tourism organization.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Was that relatively recently?
Yeah.
I remember reading those articles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it actually was about a year ago now.
Yeah, I was super jealous and remain super jealous. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely probably one of the highlights of my time at Drama Fever.
That's awesome.
Well, even though it may seem mundane to you, if it makes you feel any better, my friend, so Megan and then our friend Irene and I are constantly texting each other about K-dramas and K-pop, and we're always sending each other content from Drama Fever.
Yes.
And there's some of our favorite things out there. I mean, we were just doing it the other day about who's your BTS boyfriend, and I'm like, how else would I ever know that my BTS boyfriend is Namjoon if Drama Fever wasn't here to help me figure this out? So
we take those like any quizzes. We send all the memes to each other.
We take them very seriously.
It's our happiness.
Which leads me to, do you have a favorite type of content that you like to create? I mean, do you love the memes? Do you love the quizzes? I know there's a lot of top 10 lists. Is there anything that you really love going above and beyond and creating?
We used to do more live videos when I was in the office more. And with my coworker Jackie, she and I would do more live videos. So I actually moved in. I live in San Francisco and work remotely now. Mm-hmm. So I don't get to do as many anymore, which is sad because I miss them. But yeah, doing the live videos with Jackie where we talked about our favorite shows and were able to interact with fans in real time was really fun. I loved doing that.
That's awesome.
Do you feel like fans are do you get a lot of interaction? I mean, it seems like K-drama and K-pop fans are very passionate, so I'd assume you'd hear from them a lot, but do you get a lot of interaction on social media?
Yeah, we do. It's actually pretty amazing. Our fans are definitely the most passionate fans of, like, any fandom that I know of. And, people are incredibly surprised when, they find out that we have, like, almost 5 million Facebook followers.
That's incredible.
Like 500,000, we have 3 million YouTube subscribers and 500,000 Instagram. It's huge, and people get really into it, and they're very passionate about it, which is really fun because it makes my job so much easier, Yeah.
Exactly.
There's been times when I've thought, oh, maybe I should switch jobs, and then I'm just like, what? I can't write about that. That's lame. Like, what? I'm not gonna have any fun interactions with people. That's just like not. My day would just be boring. So yeah, the fans are what really make my job fun, and it's always very gratifying to like post a meme that I made and then see people comment and like it, and to know that like they appreciate it, and to read comments like, oh, this really made my day, or thanks for all you do. Like, you get a lot of stories of people who write in like, oh, I have cancer, and I have, this is like one of the only things that like brightens my day, and that kind of thing is so gratifying to hear from fans.
Putting like a lot of good out into the world. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be at a job where you feel like you're making people's days happier.
Yeah. That definitely resonates with us because we talk about it a lot. We get so much joy out of watching K-dramas. And it was something we didn't expect when we started kind of dipping our toes in this. So it's very relatable.
And we assume
it is, and it brings people together, which is fun. Like, for example, I introduced my mom to K-dramas, and she was really into them, and she started writing like drama club posts and got to know a whole bunch of other women that were into K-dramas, and they like meet up at KCON, and
that's so incredible. I got my mom into it too, and now she's like lapped me. She's seen everything, and I've seen just a small portion.
My mom, for sure. My mom has seen far more than I have. And she's retired, so she has time.
That's what I always say to my mom. You have a lot more free time on your hands than me, so.
Yeah.
And when we were setting up this interview, we assumed that you like K-dramas. But when you emailed me your bio, I was so excited to see that you had your own blog. And so we went and checked it out. And I want to make sure that we give a plug for it on our podcast. So it is, I know you've already kind of touched on it, but it's kdramafighting.com. Can you just tell us a little bit about who you run it with? And you kind of touched on how you got started. But yeah, just any details you want to share.
Yeah, I run it with one of my best friends from college, Susie, and I got her into K-dramas, and then it was kind of cool because I moved away from Utah where we went to school to New York, and it's one of those situations where like sometimes when you move across the country, you just, your lives kind of drift apart. Mm-hmm. So it was nice because when we worked on this blog together, we just worked really well together, and we had so much fun, like trying all these different things and interacting with people that came to it. And then through that, we were invited by KCON to do K-drama panels for several years in a row, and it was always like so fun to meet people who read our blog in person. And we kind of started it as like a humor thing because K-dramas are such a unique little world, and they're on inside jokes, and once you get into them, you start seeing the same patterns, and you might think like, oh, that gets old, but it actually becomes kind of endearing. And so we were kind of like partly making fun of them, but also like in a positive way, in the sense it's like, this is so funny and I can't stop watching it. And it's
tease
very
because
relatable.
You love.
Yes.
Right. And you have to admit, like, yes, that's like the 100th piggyback ride I've seen.
Yes.
It's still adorable. I still love it.
Every time somebody gets amnesia, I'm just like, are you kidding me with this?
Yeah. Or the white trick of doom.
Yes. I do love in your bio that you said that when you first got into K-dramas, you actually would choose to stay in over actually going out and being around people. And I also love how you mentioned that you watched your first whole show in like 3 short days because same. We've all been there. And I think any K-drama fan who says they haven't done that is probably lying to themselves. But what exactly do you think pulled you in this fascinating world of K-dramas?
Were you hooked after the first one? Was it like Lie to Me and then that was it? Were you just like in from the start?
Yeah, I was pretty much in from the start. I was surprised because the first episode of Lie to Me, there's like this really over-the-top scene where she's like planning this event and all these bees come and they're like these terrible CGI bees and they're like stinging people and you're just like, what in the world? This is so over the top. And but then you're also just like, I can't stop. Why can't I stop? And yeah, I think it was like I was in grad school at the time, so it was a really great form of escapism. Because I was just stressed about so many things, but it was like nice to just turn my brain off and be transported into another world. And because I hadn't ever been to Korea and I didn't know anything about it, it was almost like entering a fantasy world, where it's almost one step even further removed from reality than American TV.
Yeah.
Because I really just didn't know anything about it. And so it was like discovering a whole new world with food and clothing and words and, just a whole different culture, which fascinated me and definitely made me want to learn more.
I was just telling Becca before we talked to you, so I've seen Lie to Me and she hasn't, and I was telling her that's the famous Coca-Cola kiss. It's from Lie to Me,
yes,
and so she has to watch it now because I feel like that in itself is like an inside joke in K-dramas.
Yeah, Megan's like, it's so, it comes on and you're like, this is so not sexy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, it is.
No, it's pretty good.
And that's the thing, it's like, if you just saw a K-drama kissing and had never seen a K-drama, you'd probably be like, that looks awkward and
why are her
not
eyes
that sexy,
open?
but it's like when you already invested 7 or 8 episodes into these characters and all their trials and all the sexual tension that's there, and then they finally kiss, even though it's an awkward kiss, you're still just like, wow.
It's so amazing. Yes. So I think between you and I, we've convinced Becca that she has to watch Lie
I just told her, I guess that's going to be my next show. Yeah, just take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, for me at the time, I think the other reason why I loved it so much is because I just happened to fit my stage of life very well. Like at the time, I was single and I was like kind of in a culture where I felt pressured to like get married and was feeling kind of old, and that's kind of the same thing in the drama. It starts off with the main character where she's not married, all her college friends are, and she feels like really looked down upon, and so she lies about being married, and so that's kind of like the catalyst for the whole thing. And I could just kind of really relate to how she felt.
And
at that moment.
That's what's her name from Coffee Prince?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yoon Hae, which of course then I had to watch Coffee Prince next.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like she's a really good way to start K-dramas because every character she plays, you're so enchanted by her, and she embodies that kind of really spirited, exciting person. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's she's a good way to, I don't know, like an intro to K-dramas. I love her.
Yeah, I mean, I hope she does like another good one soon. It's been a while since she's had like a really solid one.
A really long time.
So do you happen to keep track of how many K-dramas you watch? Any idea how many you've seen over the years?
Oh, no, I don't.
Too many to list, for sure.
I have no idea. Yeah, I really don't know.
Looking back, what are just a few of your favorites, if you had to pick a few?
Definitely, I would say Coffee Prince is my favorite of all time, and it was kind of funny because when I moved to New York, I was living with my friend and her husband for like a month while I was trying to like get my feet planted, and I started making them watch Coffee Prince, and her husband got way into it, and there was a point at which like we were out to dinner with our other friends, and her husband turned to us and was like, "I just want to go home." So we can watch Coffee Prince. And we're like, yeah.
That is the dream roommate.
Seriously,
right there.
That's what every K-drama fan wants to hear, is someone who's not a K-drama fan to be like, can we please just leave and go watch that show?
Yes, and I was like, me too. I have no interest in these tacos. Take them away. Let's go. Yeah, so Coffee Prince is definitely my top, and then I would say Master Sun I loved. Just, yeah, because of the chemistry, and it was funny, but also a little scary. Yeah. And then, Oh My Ghostos was I love too. I guess I like the ones that have a little bit of horror in them, as long as they're also like funny and romantic. And then, yeah, Fated to Love You was awesome. That one like made me bawl my eyes out. So.
Oh, we were wondering, is it the Korean one or the Taiwanese one?
Yeah, the Korean one.
The Korean one. That's the one we've seen. We haven't seen the other one.
So it's so funny because when you sent me your list, my friend Irene and I have very different tastes than Megan does when it comes to K-dramas, and your list pretty much mimics mine and Irene's list, like to a T. I was like, oh my gosh, Colleen and I would get along so well, because those are pretty much all my favorite K-dramas as well.
Yay, K-drama soulmates.
I like them too.
Yeah. She just doesn't want to feel left out.
Yeah, I like them too. I was actually
We can be called KDramas always too.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I even like now, and I'm like, I don't know. This always happens to me. I wanted to ask you, I was looking through some of the posts on your blog, and there was one about strong female leads, like the best strong female leads, and we wanted to know if you had a favorite like female character that you really loved from the dramas.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's so many great ones, but I feel like some of them start out so annoying, but then they get like, you know, they get better, which is the whole point of drama, right? It's a character growth.
That's why you invest for 16 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Right, because you're just like, I know I'm gonna like them one day.
This is gonna turn out okay.
And then you do. Yeah. I actually really like the second female lead from Coffee Prince.
Oh,
yeah,
artist.
she was great.
Yeah, she's like really cool and accomplished and complicated, and she seems like a real person. Like for me, she's not like a stereotype or an archetype. Like she's like her own woman and has her own flaws, but is like, you know,
yeah.
I don't know. I really liked her. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of it.
I feel like what you just said is really made me think of how you can have a crazy premise for a K-drama, like this girl pretends to be a boy to work at a coffee house because she wants the job, and then, you know, hilarity ensues. But the reason that I feel like they never feel silly or over the top is because characters like that one, they're such realistic, nuanced characters, so you kind of can put aside the bizarre plot and just be like, okay, these are I feel like I know these people, and yes, it's a weird scenario, but
it brings a lot of reality into that fantasy, and it just makes it seem so relatable for sure.
Yeah, I think there's an element of relatability that makes every K-drama like addicting, is because you can see yourself in that. Yes. Even though the situation is over the top, you can still see yourself in it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge reason why I like them. I think that's really well said. I also saw we were, like I said, going through some of the recent blog posts, and there was also a couple mentions of how 2017 was kind of a slow year for shows, which is something Beck and I have talked about a lot lately. Last year we were kind of struggling to find anything, so we were just wondering if there are any shows on your radar for 2018 that you're looking forward to, or the Drama Fever is really excited about, because we're always looking for what's going to come next.
Yeah, the one that just came out this week is Go-Go Waikiki, and it's really fun. It's got this like element of like 3 men and a baby.
Oh, I love it already.
How relatable for you as a new mother.
Right. So yeah, it's got this it's fun, it's lighthearted, which, you know, I find that if I watch something too heavy in the winter, then I'm just like, I can't handle this. Yeah. Like I watched like half of I Miss You, and that was in the winter, and even though I liked it, I was like, I can't anymore. Yeah. I just couldn't anymore.
You guys are still both better than me. I can't get like 3 episodes into a serious drama any time of the year, because I'm like, this is too much emotion.
Megan makes me watch them and then like give her cliff notes, and she's like, nope, don't even tell me. I can't even. It's too sad. Much pressure.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that one is kind of a fun, lighthearted one to start watching now. And next coming up, we have My Mister with IU and the guy who plays the second lead in KPop.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pasta was our first drama. Chef. So we always see him as Chef.
We always call him Chef. Yeah.
I'm excited for that
one. The lead. Yeah, I think that one will be really good. That's kind of one that we're looking forward to next. And other than that, right now we have some really good serious dramas, if that's what you're into, that are getting like amazing reviews that I haven't watched because I'm just like, I can't handle it.
Yeah. I need a solid romantic comedy.
I love them. Yeah, like Call Me Mother, Cross, and Misty are sort of the like serious ones we have, but they have amazing acting and amazing writing. And if you are like, and if you need to like cry or you need like something serious, then I definitely recommend them.
I'll have Becca watch them and
I'll give her those cliff notes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch gears real quick, just to head over to the K-pop side of things. I know you mentioned in the little pre-interview that we gave you that one of your favorite K-pop groups was Big Bang, which is actually, it's great timing because Taeyang just got married this weekend. And actually, Megan and I just recorded a podcast. I'm not sure when we're gonna air it, about devoted entirely to a trip that we did to go see Big Bang front row at the Made Tour a few years ago. So have you had an opportunity to see any K-pop concerts yourself? I'm sure you have, but we would love to hear about any of those experiences.
Yes, I've seen so many. We actually, both of you were actually produced the taping of the Made Tour in New York.
Oh, we made sure to do a big plug for Drama Fever. We're
Becca's
watch it exclusively. I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that concert is on Drama Fever, so you can watch it. And so I was there for that when they taped it. That was cool. And I've been to, I honestly don't even know how many K-pop concerts. Because when I was in New York, I would try to get press passes for pretty much any one that passed through New York.
That's awesome.
That was really cool because we were literally at the very, very, very front. And so I'm like, I could reach out and touch your face, but that'd be creepy, so I won't. But yeah, I've been to many, but I would say one of my favorites was CN Blue. Part of it was because I knew the guys from Dramas, but I didn't know their music very well. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of came in, and I had seen many other K-pop groups perform where, to be honest, they were more about dancing than singing. And so I came into the K-pop Blue, or the CN Blue concert not having high expectations for their musical abilities, because I thought, oh, these guys are actors, and they're probably going to, dance, whatever. Which wasn't the case at all. They're 100% musicians, and I was just completely blown away by the whole show and how talented they all are individually at their instruments and singing, and just really good music. And I was just like, man, now I wish I would have listened to it more beforehand so I could be singing along, that one was amazing. FT Island was also amazing because he just has the most amazing voice.
Yes.
And it was fun to see him too after seeing him in so many K-dramas. And then I was also really impressed by BAP. They were just really amazing musicians. And then I've been to KCON every year and gotten to be pretty much front row as well, which has been awesome. And I think I loved seeing Super Junior, and they were on the Drama Fever red carpet, which was cool. So I got to kind of see them. And I was, of course, in love with Siobhan.
Oh, yeah.
And
I relate.
Yeah, and back in the day, I got to run interviews with Teen Top and Vix, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I have nothing but nice things to say about all the K-pop people I've met. They've always been so sweet, and I don't know, they've just been so great. They've been so nice.
You actually transitioned perfectly because the next thing we're going to ask you about was KCON. So obviously KCON is an annual event. So when I was looking it up, I noticed that it's organized by Powerhouse Live, Mnet Media, CJ E&M, and Korea Boo. How exactly does Drama Fever fit into that equation?
So the last couple of years, Drama Fever has been one of the co-sponsors of KCON, and so they've sponsored the red carpet and had a booth, and that's kind of how they fit in. They're not an organizer of it, but they are a sponsor of it, and as such, they have a pretty strong presence at the actual event, but they don't organize the actual event.
Oh, okay. So do you have a favorite? I know you mentioned that you've been there many times. Do you have a favorite KCON moment?
Favorite KCON moment? Oh no, there's so many. I do have a couple. So back before I actually worked for Drama Fever, I went to KCON right after we started our blog with Vivi, my co-writer, and I was on the hunt for a job at that point. So I was I'm going to network. And we were kind of practicing YouTube at the time, which we didn't do much with afterwards because we decided that wasn't our strong suit. But I was we tried to think of a bunch of creative ideas for videos at KCON. And they had this workshop at KCON that was for speed dating. And so you could go and speed date, other K-pop fans, K-drama fans. And I was I'm going to do this thing where I I'm in character as like a K-drama character. And then I'm going to ask these guys these questions as if I'm a K-drama character.
That's amazing.
And so I told the guys, like, the second they sat down, I was just like, okay, it's being taped. Okay, I'm going to ask you, like, a bunch of these questions. And so the guys all played along, and they were so funny. And so I asked, like, are you physically able to give me a piggyback ride? Or, like, how would you describe your mother? Like, all the requirements that I would need to find my K-drama male lead.
Yes.
And so it's a pretty awkward video. It's so need to get through and watch it.
That's
but,
amazing.
I mean, haven't watched it for years. It's been like 4 years. But yeah, it was pretty funny. It's definitely an awkward, not that well done video. But that was
such
fun
a good idea,
to, like, see
though.
the guys' reactions. Huh?
It's such a good idea. That's so funny.
And of course, it was like some of these guys were like 16, and I was like 30. And I'm sure they sat down and like, why is this so?
Oh my god, that makes it so much better. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I gotta look this up.
I know. So you've also mentioned, and with all your experiences, so just being a fan, but working for Drama Fever, and then being at KCON, you've obviously met some actors and idols and actresses. Who, I guess, can you list a few of the people that you've met, and do you have any favorites that you think I would love to meet that person again?
Who are you most starstruck by?
I definitely have a favorite. Yeah, so for the Drama Fever Awards, we had Park Shin-hye and Gary from Running Man and Kim Jong-kook from Running Man. And then at KCON, we had Park Bo-young come to our booth, which was cool.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, and then I just, like, really press stuff. I've gotten to meet a few different people as well. But, yeah, by far my favorite was Kim Jong-kook.
Oh, yeah.
From Running Man. Yeah, well, not only is he just, like, he's just handsome, and he's also just so nice. Like, legitimately a nice person. Because with celebrities, you never know what you're going to get. They're actors. Like, you don't know what their real personality is. But he legitimately is, like, a nice person. Like, he came with Haha to do, like, their little duo concert they, like, sing together and rock together. And I did that press for that. And I already met him. I think I've actually met him 3 times. But I went to that, and I got to go to, like, the fan event where if you paid a little bit more, you got to take a picture with them and, talk to them, have your questions answered before the concert. And, like, halfway through, the manager was like, oh, I'm sorry, you guys, not everybody's going to get pictures with them because we're running late and we have to go. And Kim Jong-kook was just like, no, everybody's going to get a picture.
Oh, my God.
Come up right now. And he made sure that he, like, took an individual picture with every person and shook everybody's hand and said hi to everybody and was just like, no, everybody's going to,
That's awesome.
That is so amazing.
That makes me so happy because he is so much fun to watch on Running Man that you want him to be as cool as he seems on TV. So that makes my heart happy.
He really is. Yeah.
So we have one last segment. Megan, do you have any other questions before we hop
I'm
in?
sure I'll think of like 20 after we're done, but...
So we have one last segment, and this is actually a brand new segment to our podcast. So we do have a friend, obviously her name, we've mentioned her before. Her name's Irene. She lives in Boston. She has never been on the podcast, but she's constantly helping us come up with content. Yeah. And so we created this new segment called Irene Wants to Know. So basically we just told Irene, we were going to be talking with you. You were from Drama Fever. What were just a few things that she was dying to know, dying for us to ask you. So if you're game, we're just going to shoot you a couple of questions that she wants to know and see what she can come up with.
All right.
So number one, her question was, what is your favorite drama of all time? And you can only pick one.
Coffee Prince.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a great answer. Who is your favorite K-drama star? And we're going to do a male and female.
I mean, how can I not say Gong Yoo? I don't know if like the same as my all-time favorite drama, but he's just like,
that's who, I think we asked Becca this question and she immediately was like, obviously it's Gong Yoo.
It's got to be Gong Yoo. Yeah, it's got to be.
Right. But I have to say I also really love Siwon and he's always like so fun to watch because of his facial expressions, and he also is just like legitimately a nice person in real life.
Oh, that makes me happy too.
Oh, that makes Megan really happy.
I get second male lead syndrome constantly, but it has never been stronger than when I watched She Was Pretty.
Yeah.
He's so good in that.
Totally.
But anyway, sorry. And then do you have a favorite female star?
I really like, I'm like spacing her name, the girl from Master's Son.
Gong Yoo Jin.
Gong Yoo Jin. Oh, she's one of my favorites too.
I think she would be my favorite.
Yeah, I love her. And then I also, which I'm also spacing the name again, but she was in Fade to Love You, but then she also was just in Go Back Couple.
Jang Nara.
Yeah, she's so great.
Yeah, Jang Nara. I would say Go Back Couple is probably my favorite, most recent drama.
Yeah, we just finished that
She's just such a good actress.
Yeah.
Every time she's in anything, I bawl my eyes out, and I'm not a crier.
Yeah.
Go
She's
Back Couple
amazing at expressing emotion and getting you really invested and making you cry, but also making you laugh. And that drama is just really relatable too. And so, yeah, it was definitely, probably my favorite, most recent one.
Oh, I love it. All right. So I did tell Irene, I gave her that short list of people that you had sent me that you had met in person before. And she wants to know, is Kim Soo-hyun more beautiful in person?
Yes. Yeah, he is. Actually, they all are. Honestly, they all are. Like, every time I see one of them in real life, I'm just like, how is it possible that you're better looking in real life? Like, every single one of them.
It's like enough already.
Yeah, we get it. You're all beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, they're all beautiful on camera, but they're like far more beautiful in real life, where you're just kind of like, are you real?
Yeah, what's going on here?
So you've obviously met a lot of people, but Irene wants to know, is there a Korean star or group that you're dying to meet, someone that you haven't met yet that you would love to?
I would love to meet Kim Woo Bin. We had him do a live hangout with Drummer Fever fans. It must have already been, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. I can't keep track of time, but I didn't get to meet him because it was like a live hangout from Korea. But we had one of our hostess, Grace, was there for it, and she got to meet him, and she just said he's like the nicest guy ever. And it really impressed me because when we asked him to do it, he wasn't like, oh, how much? He was just like, yes, I'll do it. I want to meet my international fans.
That's so
And so
cool.
he 100% did it just so he could meet his international fans, and that was so cool.
That's amazing. All right, and then she only has one more question here for you. So if you get obsessed with an idol or a star, do you exhibit any stalking behaviors like we do, like social media stalking, watching them on YouTube until 3 a.m.? Basically, Irene just wants to know if we're normal or if that's pretty standard with K-pop fans.
Yeah, I think that she's in good company. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, once I develop that crush, of course, I'm like, now I need to look up Gangyu speaking English.
Yes, every interview for the last 10 years.
Right, because of course, like, I think there's a part of you that, when I was single, that I was like, if they speak English, then that's one less barrier to our true love. And, for sure, that will be together.
Absolutely. I think that all the time.
Well, as a fellow Fated to Love You fan, we have to know, do you like Lee Gun, the main character, better pre or post haircut? Because I think it's about episode 13 where he goes away and comes back and he finally looks like a gorgeous man. So which do you prefer, the longer hair or the short hair?
Well, I mean, I kind of love the longer hair just because it's more of his character. Right. Like, it's just like, with his, like, goofy laugh, and I don't know, I just feel like that's him. And so, although, yes, he is more attractive with short hair, I just feel like the longer hair was, like, it was more him.
I feel like I was 2 episodes into the haircut before I was like, wait, did he get a haircut? I didn't even notice it.
I, on the other hand, immediately noticed and texted our friend Irene, oh my gosh, the hair!
Finally!
Oh, well, Colleen, this has been such a joy. We really appreciate you sharing your time with us and your stories, and I know that our listeners are going to love every minute of this, so we really appreciate it. And as fellow fans fighting, that's all I can say. This was so much fun. So for all of our listeners, we want you to know that we recorded this interview pretty late last night. So we just kind of wanted to take an opportunity one more time to thank Colleen for joining us. We also wanted to take an opportunity to thank Drama Fever for sharing her with us. They were very responsive when we reached out with our request to interview somebody.
And we were just talking about the fact that it seems like a small thing, but being able to talk to someone who you've never met from a completely different part of the country, who feels the same way that you do about this one specific thing and is so passionate and excited, it was really cool. It made us kind of realize we don't, other than each other, we don't have a lot of people in our lives who are at that same level of excitement that we are. So it was just fun to connect with somebody and recognize that same level of passion in another person. So it was special for us. We really enjoyed it.
I couldn't agree more. It was such a fun experience, and I think it was just great it was almost funny to see how this one topic, I mean, we jumped into this interview with her, and within 5 minutes, I felt like, oh my goodness, we just made a new friend. Like, it's just this topic brings so many people together. And so if you are out there listening, as always, and you don't feel like you have people to talk to about this stuff, just know people are out there. Sometimes we just have to make the effort to go and find them.
Yeah, and we're going to keep talking about this ad nauseum, whether somebody's listening or not. So we'll be here. Okay, as always, you can find us on social media, Twitter @NooniaBusiness, Facebook @NooniaBusiness. You can email us, Becca@NooniaBusiness.com and Megan @NooniaBusiness.com. A big, huge thanks to Who Arted for all of our podcast equipment and for sponsoring us over these last few weeks. And yeah, reach out. Let us know what you think.
We'll see you all next week.